Hey everybody.
Hello.
I'm Sam.
I'm Jyotsna.
And this is Happenstance, the podcast where we give our stance on a TV show or movie we haven't seen. And then we sometimes have.
Sometimes we've seen it, and sometimes we're wearing costumes.
Today is that kind of day.
It is.
And I think we look incredible, actually.
We do. We are going to put this episode on YouTube, so check that out.
Check that out. That being said, what's up with you today?
I'm feeling like Happenstance is 1 year old.
That's actually factually true as well.
That's crazy.
A year and some change.
How do you feel about that?
I feel low-key surprised that we made it this far.
I do too.
We did, for all our dedicated listeners, admittedly take like a 2-month break at some point. But that's just summer.
Yeah.
That was our summer and winter.
Yeah, we never were like, it's over.
No, we knew it wasn't over. And actually, tip for you guys, if you guys are ever doing something and you just stop for 2 months, other people will be like, did you guys give up on that? You shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And then you can be like, no, I didn't, but thank you for saying that.
Yeah, and then they'll temporarily love you more when you come back.
Because it's like a comeback.
Backstreet's back.
Like Michael Jordan. After he retired to play baseball. Everyone thought that we retired to play baseball.
We were doing that for 2 months. We got really fucking good at baseball.
Then we were over it.
We were over it.
And
we were like,
let's sit on the couch and gab.
You got it, Shohei Ohtani.
Take it away. Take it away.
We say that at the same time.
That's because that's what we freaking said to him.
That's what we said to Shohei.
That day.
Yeah.
That's what we said. Actually, though, I feel like this is a big day because when we started this podcast, I was like, wanted to do it just because I literally feel like I've never completed anything of my own volition, you know? And well, here we are.
When we started it, you were like, we have to have at least 10 episodes in the bank so that it won't be embarrassing when we give up after 10 episodes.
Yeah, I had a good insurance policy,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet here we are.
Here we are, episode
40.
40?
Episode 40.
Over the hill.
Over the hill.
Is over the damn hill. 1 year down.
1 year down.
2 years to go till we're legitimate in any way.
Right. Till we either make it or flame out like a comet in the night.
Find love and move to like Florida with a retired hedge fund manager.
Yeah, we're looking for love as usual, but lately we're thinking big. We're thinking old
style.
We're thinking old style.
And that reminds me of our topic for today.
the Golden Bachelorette. Happenstance.
They're back at it again.
This feels like also a full circle moment for the podcast because like for a while our most listened to episode was the Golden Bachelor episode from last year.
Full circle.
Circle
Golden
of life.
ring.
Yeah.
Matrimony. Wisdom. And speaking of wisdom, we're going to do something a little different on the podcast today. We're going to kick off with a happenstance in an interview format from a special golden correspondent.
And let me just say, this guy was a get.
He was a huge get.
We were like, oh my God, will he even do this?
And
we were on the edge of our seat.
It was like a week of negotiations.
Yeah.
Other parties were weighing in.
Right.
With doubt.
Right. We were like, do we have to pay him? Like.
And then he came in and just hit it out of the park.
Yeah. Like Shohei Ohtani.
And we said, take it away.
Take it away.
So, with no further ado, here's a special interview segment of Happenstance with special correspondent, my dad. Wait, no, just one strong one. Stop. One strong one.
Oh. What does that do?
The clap, I didn't believe in this until Joseph told me, is so that you can line up the audio and the video. And the way you do it is because the audio like bar, it shows like heart rate monitor. It'll show a spike where the clap is. Right. But that's why it's hard if it's like.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. We're trying to line up one spike with one spike.
With the little spike. Tricky.
So I messed that up.
I mean, you got it at the end.
You got it at the end. That was
okay.
No one's done that yet.
That's true. no one else has done that yet on the podcast.
When you say clap, it's just
like an applause was your instincts, not a one solid clap.
Not a solid clap.
He's a supporter. He wants to applaud.
Speaking of, welcome to a special segment of Happenstance Pod featuring my dad, Joe Gibson. Dad, do you have anything else you would like to say about yourself as an introduction? You don't have to.
I guess a lifelong Bachelor fan.
Lifelong.
Lifelong?
Well,
Is it that old of a series?
Well,
Whoa.
not lifelong. I remember watching it when it first came out.
Yes.
Because it was new. Then we kind of faded off of it, but then y'all got
I
into
started
it,
watching
we
it in
got
high
back-
school.
And we got back into it.
You've been into it for the lifespan of the series, for
on
sure.
On and off, but yeah.
That's enough. I think that's the most anyone could expect is on and off.
What
True.
What do you like about it?
Initially, just a newness. Like,
Okay.
and
There you go.
It seemed a little crazier, maybe initially, just
It
because you didn't know what
was.
to expect.
Well, it also famously used to be a real, like, rich, good-looking, like, checking all the boxes kind of bachelor.
Like Marry a Millionaire initially.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So that was kind of interesting back in the day.
Right.
But then it got a little old over the years, and we kind of faded off till.
But then,
But then-
for many years, you and Mom and your friends were like, why is everyone 27 on this? That's not interesting enough.
Your mother has always said, man, they need to do someone our age. And
Yes.
like the next year, they did.
You guys have single friends, and they do have drama. I'll say.
Wow.
They do have drama, true.
They have drama. You can always have drama.
I don't know if they have Bachelor drama, but yeah.
Would you ever submit one of your friends to the Golden Bachelor or Bachelorette?
I honestly can't see any of my friends being able to do that.
I don't think they could do it
No.
either. I don't think they could hold it together on The Bachelorette.
I don't think so either.
No. Speaking of your friends and you, I wanted you to come on the podcast for this because you are a lifelong Bachelor fan, and then you are closer to Golden Age.
Or would you say you are Golden?
Would you
Age?
identify
Yeah.
as Golden?
Technically, I know I'm in that ballpark,
Yeah.
but I cannot identify no.
You could not. You could never.
No. Well, not now in my life. I don't feel like I'm in that category of golden.
When would
Yeah.
you be Golden?
At least 70.
Okay.
For
Okay.
sure. At least 70.
Okay. I think of Gary the Bachelor. He was like 75, right?
He was 75, but the youngest people on the show were 60,
Yeah.
which feels really young. to
I
be
think
golden.
so too, comparatively.
Yeah.
Compared to a 70, he was too old.
He was too old?
75 was too old.
You don't think he should have been? You think he's
No.
okay?
I did not like him.
Why didn't you like
yeah.
him?
He was, or at least seemed to be too proper.
He was
So
boring.
there was nothing. He was very boring.
He cried all the time.
He was very emotional.
We did not finish the season because of his.
Because of
Whoa.
Gary.
Yes, it was just too dull.
I wasn't into Gary either, but
No.
I thought Gary was boring and cried all the time, which made me oscillate between. Sometimes I was like, Gary isn't well enough to be on the show, or sometimes I'd be like, Gary's fake.
Well, at the end, after the show ended, we found out maybe he's fake.
I just heard that today from Samantha. I didn't know the backstory on that.
Why are you calling me Samantha on the pod?
I don't know.
You've never called me that ever.
I was about to be like, Samantha.
Or I guess you call me that to like Grady Gale.
This
Yeah.
seems so formal.
Okay.
Holding a mic, all this high tech equipment.
So what did you think learning what you did that Gary has been using women for their money since the passage of his wife?
I was shocked because he acted like a really dull, just all good on the show.
All
to me.
good, and you didn't like it. You
I
said this
did
guy
not
needs
like
to be
it.
more of a bad boy.
It did not make me want to watch.
Yes.
Did not like the group of women.
Oh.
What did you think was up with that?
None to me were really that attractive.
Because you're not golden, you're not old enough
I
to
think
like them.
I think that's what it was.
I think the ones that were more attractive actually went home earlier.
Kind of early.
Yeah.
He did stick pretty age appropriate as part of his like behaving, I would say, on TV.
And the final few that I saw,
Yes.
did not like.
And you famously don't like that. I remember in Joey's season of The Bachelor, what are their names? Nancy and Kathy. Mm-hmm. You know Nancy and Kathy. The one who looks like Kris
Susan.
Jenner. Susan.
Susan. It's a
Oh.
Kris Jenner one.
Kris Jenner and partner.
Yes.
And you, every time they would show up on a Bachelor moment, would be like, again.
I know.
You got sick of them.
It was too much.
Everyone's liked the old ladies because they were all like friends with each other. Did you like that aspect of it or care
You weren't
about
happy for them?
I did not.
What did you want from Golden Bachelor that it didn't deliver on?
There needs to be more drama.
Okay, I
Okay.
agree.
But I assume that since everyone probably has kids and grandkids,
They
can't-
wanna act right.
They can't go on a show and either be themselves or
Wow. You can't be yourselves on TV if you have grandkids in school. That's true.
Not if it's not appropriate.
I do think a lot of them came with an agenda. Like they wanted to talk about like old people issues and like I think they
like what?
Like you remember when they all bonded over like how they fart a lot now?
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad I missed that episode.
I know you would have hated all of them having fun in the pool.
And I don't want to hear anything about their medical issues.
That's like half of it.
I know.
And you're out.
Yeah.
No.
I think that should be part of it on regular Bachelor too, because if you're going to marry someone, you do need to know what they might develop in the future.
I don't know.
You don't like that?
No medical issues at all.
You don't want to hear about that period?
I do not, no.
Did you know that when I was dating a doctor told him when he was a child that he likely would be in a wheelchair by age 50 and he wouldn't be able to walk?
Okay, that's something you needed to know.
Thank you.
Do you remember Joan, the one who's going to be the Golden Bachelorette at all?
No.
She left the show because her daughter was going to have a baby.
And was having like prepartum,
or postpartum depression.
something like that.
Yeah.
Would you, if I just gave birth, and not imagine that happens, would you go on, maybe you and mom can both go on some reality show. Would you and mom leave to go on a reality show if I was giving birth?
We would not.
That's what I thought.
No.
Okay, would you be on a reality show?
No.
That's what I thought. That's
what
step
I thought.
one.
So I guess that's a different personality in general. I thought that was crazy. There's another woman last season who did have a fun personality who famously missed her daughter's wedding to be on there.
Yeah, she like FaceTimed her daughter and was like, congrats!
And that was it.
A terrible move.
Terrible. It wasn't likable.
No.
But then
no.
when her daughter called her, it made her seem like her daughter's kind of relieved.
Yeah, her daughter was like,
That she wasn't
"Yay."
there?
Yes.
Yeah,
And so I thought that
Oh.
was a bad vibe too.
That says a lot.
That says a
It
lot.
does.
So I do have some questions for you specifically about what if kind of. And so I do want to know, as a 60 plus man, there's certain group dates that happen over and over on The Bachelor. For instance, they do a wedding themed photo shoot. Sometimes they'll go bungee jumping. They drive 4-wheelers. Sometimes you have to watch a woman try on dresses. Would you do that in any world?
Only the fun stuff. Bungee jumping,
You would do bungee jumping.
the competitions.
Okay.
I'd be into that.
You're in it to win it. That makes sense. But you wouldn't do a wedding photo shoot.
I've never liked the wedding shoots.
Period.
It
Wow.
ruins it for the real
I
thing.
think it's weird.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
they do that on purpose to try to make people's emotions flare up.
I agree.
But I don't like that either.
Because there's a winner in that group wearing the wedding dress and don't like it. Good television, but not for me.
Not for you.
Not-
That's fair.
not-
I couldn't see you. Do you think any of your single friends would be willing to do a wedding photo shoot followed by like a beach volleyball competition?
No.
That's what I was like. Where are they
No.
finding them? Yeah. So just know, what kind of guy do you think it takes to win the Golden Bachelorette?
How old is the Bachelorette?
Do you know that?
I actually don't know how old she
Let's
is.
check.
I think she might be young.
Oh, she is young. She's only 61 this
What?
time. Which feels like they knew. They heard your complaints. They knew that people were like, no.
No, yep. Not too old.
This is Joan.
Work done, and the hair just doesn't fit a 61-year-old.
You don't like the teen glossy locks?
No, too much.
Well, that being said, what do you think a bachelor man should look like?
Well, I'm wondering if they'll go down the cougar route. Are they going to have like a couple of 30 or 40-year-olds?
They actually
As an
don't. I
option?
did look at the
You checked?
cast.
That's
I
a
did.
good idea.
That's a good idea, though.
I would have been scandalized
Yeah,
if there was
yeah.
like one 50-year-old hunk or like 40 even.
That,
40.
that would be good TV.
That would
Yeah.
be good
Potentially.
TV. Are they all around 60 or older?
They
or
are,
younger?
and they're like 65 to 75 range, and they are looking boring.
Oh.
They're all older than her.
I think so. Yeah.
What's up with that?
That's a bad move, too.
These are the guys that had to be in a photo shoot.
Okay.
Okay. What do you think?
Looks good for the age.
All right, Bob, 66.
This guy only being 66 is shocking.
Charles K, 62.
More age appropriate.
Chalk. That's
Oh.
you.
What is that short for?
Christopher.
It's got a good vibe. No, he's too much. Nope.
You don't. I think this guy looks cool.
He's trying too hard. Nope.
No. Tell us when you see the winner. Who you think she's gonna pick?
Yeah.
No.
I think he looks promising. What's wrong with Gil?
Just not feeling it. No, I feel like he'll be around a while, though. Final 4.
Whoa. Okay.
Nope. Too old. Top 4.
Keith. Oh.
He's looking.
No.
He's looking.
His job is
cancelable.
just girl dad.
I think he'll be trouble in the house.
Based on what?
Just his look.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
you can
Too
tell a lot.
aggressive.
Pascal.
upper half.
Okay.
Great.
I think he's a young 69.
He is a
Yeah,
young
yeah, yeah.
69.
He looks kind of hunky. He's got a bunch of bracelets on.
This guy, I think, is gonna put the moves on.
Yeah.
He's gonna come on strong.
On Golden Bachelor, when we started watching, we were like, are they gonna like make out? And they did.
They were kissing
like
a
more
lot.
than regular.
Yeah.
Do you think when your older friends go on dates, they're hooking up like that?
Yes.
Do they dish about it after still? Do they like tell you about it? Guess what?
Not a lot of dishing. I don't have a lot of single friends.
Yes. But you have a couple who are the main ones, I would say.
I do.
Yeah.
And I think the general thought is we don't have as much time to waste.
There
Yes.
you go. Up top. Nice.
Carpe
Mr.
diem.
Dave.
Just like a freshman in college would say.
Are you going to tune in for Golden Bachelorette?
We will at least start it and see how it goes.
I think the first episode is always kind of the best episode because you just get to meet a bunch of people and it's like
I agree. And you can kind of tell whether you'll be into it or not into it.
you need good personalities, definitely. What kind of drama would you want to see, if any, on Golden Bachelorette?
I keep going back to they have kids and grandkids.
Yes.
So how much are they willing to reveal or say?
You want them to be like trashy and then be like,
Not
but my
nec-
grandkids.
Yes.
Wait, I had a question.
Yeah.
So how the old ladies all became friends? Do you think the old men are gonna be friends?
I think they will.
Okay.
They usually bond in the house more than with the lead, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't really like that either, but I think that'll happen.
I don't like it either, but I think it'll happen.
There'll be the one or two that are outliers, but the rest will be
Hanging in the house.
close friends by the time it's over.
Anything else you want to say?
No, this is more than I've talked about this stuff in a long time.
Well, this has been, I think, a pretty good experience, but there were some concerns when
This is trying to air out the
I'm trying
drama.
to get
The
some
family drama.
The family drama.
yeah. I want to hear about this.
I texted Dad to be on the podcast and thought he'd be like, haha, yeah, or something. But instead he texted it back. Would you say?
I would be horrible, but I'll think about it.
Period.
Okay.
And then I was like, who did he share this with in the family? Are there
Yeah.
influences in play? And then you tell me the story.
Well, we were in the car, and my wife Christine, son Nick in the car, and I said, Sam texted me and wanted me to do a podcast on The Bachelor. And I told him, I wasn't sure how to do it. And I looked around, it got really quiet. I think there were eyes rolling. They deny that at this point. But there was clearly a concern for me doing a podcast, whether I could do it or not.
They thought you couldn't hang.
They thought it would be terrible as well.
And eye roll just seems crazy as a reaction.
Sometimes you can tell from the back of someone's head if they're rolling their
If
eyes.
they're-
Like, you don't need to look at their face for that.
There was no hesitation. I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't even think about it. It's like, bad idea.
You can just tell instantly that's what they're getting. You don't think that's what you were projecting? You were
Oh,
worried?
I was projecting. It'd be nice to have a little support. in the
Okay.
other
Yeah,
direction.
yeah. Encouragement from your loved ones.
That's what we need.
We were all in consensus on it.
Yet here you are, and it
You
was
did
great.
good.
It was great.
Yeah.
It's better than I expected.
Me too. Mom,
That's
me
good.
too. It's good. Okay, well, thanks, Dad.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome.
Warning. Now's the part of the episode where we at least kind of reveal what really happens. Spoilers ahead. Ding! We watched it.
We watched the premiere, we should say.
We watched the premiere of The Golden Bachelorette.
And let me just say, I hope you did too.
You should.
You freaking should.
We went through a journey with it where at first we didn't. We really were resistant to tuning in.
It took us like almost a full week to watch it.
We weren't inspired by Joan. I personally had been rooting for Sandra
Right.
from
I'm
last
still
season to take it over.
I will say I'm still not inspired by Joan.
But now I'm like, she's a sweet lady.
Yeah.
And her hot husband is dead.
Yes.
And that's how they get you.
That was shocker number 1.
her husband, hot.
Hottie.
And passeth
And
away.
hotter than her, which is beautiful.
And it was nice to see that actually in the youth of her life, I would argue she's like less hot than she is now.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought that was inspirational in all counts.
Especially for a white woman, I would say.
Yeah. That's tough. That's tough. And I mean, she's done the work on her face, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And, stop the tanning. It looked like she was doing in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
But you go, Joan.
Right.
I wanted Sandra, who is famously the black firecracker with glasses from Jerry's season of Golden Bachelor, who skipped her daughter's wedding to be on Golden Bachelor.
Well, she's just a more interesting character.
That's a character right there.
But
yeah.
I just feel like usually they don't pick an interesting character
to be the lead.
The
lead does need to be someone that we feel like awe.
Yeah, they
need
to find love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, so far, really feels like a return to OG 2001 Bachelor format, where initially the first 2 leads for the Golden series are both blonde white people.
Oh,
That didn't go unnoticed by me, a blonde white person. Let
Wow.
me tell you that.
Sam is woke.
I'm out here policing my own kind. Yeah, yeah, I am.
That makes sense. But also, like, even if we're just gonna cast a white Golden Bachelorette, I do feel like there were still better options. I think Joan had like the most like heart-tugging story.
Totally. Her
But even-
daughter experienced
Right.
postpartum depression.
And she had to leave the show early.
Right. Her mom aired that out on national television.
Horrifying.
Yeah. But she's back.
But also a mere year later, she's like, "Bye, daughter."
Well, you can fix that up. You know, it's
Okay.
postpartum.
Yeah.
She probably got postpartum, and the kid's
Right.
fun in like 2 now.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope.
We haven't seen a glimpse of that kid yet, which is surprising
No.
because we did see a lot of other families.
We did, which I enjoyed.
I did. That was the best part.
Yes. Okay. I think we should just walk through like the journey of the
Journey
episode.
of the app.
The journey.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to watch it. I will say this was a sentiment echoed by my parents, who, as you just learned, are big Bachelor watchers as well. Initially, they made it through just the limo entrances and turned it off.
I wanted to at
Me
that point.
too.
It was so boring.
I feel like we both got up to like get a snack and pee
yeah.
during that.
Well, because like usually they're putting on a little show when they get out of the limo, and most of these guys did not do that.
Most of them did not. And the ones that did, they really flew through.
And they were like older than her and like looked older.
Yes. My
And-
dad's complaints rang true.
Weren't hot.
That yeah. But there were some standouts.
Mm-hmm.
They opened up with a shocking Bachelor contestant, the Frenchman,
Oh yes.
Pascal.
Ah oui, rather.
Oui, Pascal.
Pascal.
And that guy was making waves.
And he's a filthy fucking animal.
He's a filthy fucking animal. And one of our favorite parts of this was his unlikely couch sharing with the older Asian gentleman,
favorite.
Charles L.
Charles L. is a sweet, older, quiet Asian man.
2 beautiful, gorgeous daughters.
Clearly rich by his suit and tie with a little tie
Demeanor.
pin. Yes.
His voice is about this strong.
Yeah. And he keeps being like, do we have to be prepared to talk to her? Like,
And then him and the Frenchman do pitter patter back and forth, where the Frenchman's like, I did not have to be prepared.
yeah.
And then he has little jokes where
maybe
he's like,
others have to prepare.
maybe I'll get something together.
Yeah,
jokes.
yeah.
Because at first you saw him and you're like, aw, sweetie man.
Yeah.
And you didn't know if he was like wise, if he was in on it.
Right.
And then this filthy fucking animal, Charles L., during the first night was not doing normal Bachelor things.
No.
He was in the kitchen
He was in the
inspecting the
kitchen.
cookery.
He was looking around and being like, ooh, a mansion.
There's a lot of meat in the fridge.
He was looking at the pots and pans. He was opening things.
And he said it was nicer than he had expected.
See,
So-
and as the daughter of an older Asian man,
Yeah.
this is exactly how my dad would behave in such a situation. You take him to a mansion, he's poking around the kitchen. He's looking in the
taking
pantry. Yeah, he's opened up all the pots. He's thinking about what he's going to eat.
Telling you
next.
how it is in
Yes.
this fine home. I feel like based on only briefly having spent time with your dad, but technically we did go on a 2-on-1 with your dad.
Yes.
We did go to
my-
lunch with your father.
Yes, we did do that.
Yes, I think he does have that vibe of he's walking around kind of quiet with his hands behind his back like he's at the museum, but then is saying like a little funny thing.
Yeah,
quietly.
he's looking around a lot. Can't sit down for a second. That
Yeah.
was Charles L's vibe as well.
Actually, all of these old guys
Yeah.
were doing way more laps than we normally see.
They're looking around everywhere.
Another icon of the season for sure, Gary the caterer.
Jack.
I'm sorry. Gary's just on my mind. I'll just go ahead and rattle off Gary, this cutie. He's doing plus size men representation, right?
Yeah.
He's also like a retired investment
Right.
manager and lives in Palm Springs. Adorable grandchild.
Yes.
Artsy looking. Love him.
Love him. He was
Love
also
him.
one of the men wearing like a velvet coat situation.
Yes, he was stunting.
Yeah.
For
There were
Golden
some
Batch.
there were some stunters on there.
Someone not stunting among this crowd of like hedge fund gentlemen was Jack.
But an icon.
And nonetheless, he showed up in like a beach coral pink blazer, khakis.
And there were a lot of people who were overweight. I would say he was probably like top.
He's weathered, sure. And maybe pack it on some LBs, but why wouldn't he? Because he's a chef.
He's a caterer.
See, I want him to be a chef because of Bachelor language, but you're right. He's a caterer. He's a working class man in the kitchen.
He was in the kitchen with Charles L. They cooked up a beautiful feast and they ate it.
And that was television. That was like...
Joan, nowhere to be seen.
No, and that was incredible television.
Jack and Charles in the kitchen.
Yes, and basically anyone you pair with Charles is like an unexpected treat. 'Cause him and the Frenchman, awesome. Him and the caterer, awesome. Him and Joan, not terrible.
They did have a little conversation.
They had a little conversation. Yeah. She's very attentive to him.
What I thought was really funny was like at the end when they start showing like their families and the video messages, Charles's daughter that they showed, beautiful,
gorgeous girl,
well-spoken woman.
Yes.
And Joan looks around and gives Charles like this crazy look of like, whoa.
And they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Because I do think an attractive older woman would love a man more for knowing he has like
a beautiful daughter.
Yes. And we were like saying this, and then her reaction was like, it worked immediately on her. You could tell. And it was clear to me, I feel like, that Joan, as they were getting out of the limo, was not into all of them.
No.
Like, I think she needed the family videos to sweeten the pot, and I did too.
Yes.
And it worked.
Right.
The fact we have okay, first of all, we have a guy coming in with his job just being listed as girl dad. But so he's trying to make a name for himself as that. But then statistically, for it to be an old guy who is on the Golden Bachelorette, you can infer that they have a daughter.
There's a lot of girl dads
who submitted him. Yes. And as the videos rolled, it was like girl dad, daughter of, or girl dad of a lesbian in a successful partnership. Like they really upped the ante on girl dads.
There were multiple lesbians, I would say.
And that was beautiful to see. I love to see that Joan had multiple fathers of happy, thriving lesbians at her disposal.
That's kind of, I did want to see more about Joan's family because you want to envision the blending of that and what that would look like.
You do. You want to get excited.
Yeah.
But I feel like we know the daughter's been going through it.
True.
That kid's only 2. They can't fly a plane that easy. I think they're going to save them for later in the season.
Totally.
Yeah. Because that was a good part on Golden Bachelorette. Whenever Jerry, I already forgot. It was Gary because it couldn't be Jerry because of geriatric. He,
but it was spelled exactly like Jerry.
That. What kind of name is that? We should all know not to trust him from jump because of that.
You know what's crazy that I wanted to bring up? When at the very end, when we see the teaser for the rest of the season, Gary's in it. He comes back.
I know.
That was shocking to me because I thought we as a country were like over him.
He's a scorned man. Yeah. Rightfully scorned.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I feel like at the beginning, Joan also gave a speech to the gentleman. Also, I want to call him gentleman. Like, I'm so much more respectful to the golden people than I am the people who are like my age.
And just to be clear, these people are all like 60.
We do have a beef with that. As you just heard, my dad does not consider himself to be golden.
Right.
He's barely over on the other side of 60. And I agree.
Yeah.
As we were watching it, there was a couple people who we got, not only the guy who's like 65, but a picture or a video of him with his mom.
Right.
Who's like 85.
Who's a freaking crone. Which is what I want.
Yes. Every time we saw a mom of a kind of old guy on the screen, we were like, where's her shot at love?
Right.
Where is she? And that, we also discussed this in the last Golden Bachelor episode. It felt like last season veered a little into elder abuse.
Yeah, Gary, with the driving, for instance.
Yes, but Gary was also like 70 plus.
Yes.
And Joan's only 60, which I don't think not the same.
Again, I just don't like that this is Golden Bachelor. Like, I do want it to go into...
that's the thing is, we discussed, we want it to be fully...
Elder abuse.
Where we want to see like nursing home style people going down to the cafeteria, eating a bland food.
Right.
And like having drama.
Well, because like I mean I love to call my dad old, you know. It's a real treat for me to do that. But
that means he's not actually.
Exactly.
If it can be like haha.
Yeah. If my dad was actually old, I'd be like, oh God, and that would keep me up at night.
Totally.
Because having an old parent is the worst.
Terrifying. Mortality. Sad. Scary.
Yeah.
No.
These people are not that old.
They're not that old.
And that makes them worse.
They already played like group pickleball night 1.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're staying up all night without difficulty.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just like a little cranky.
Just a little. And
Yeah.
honestly, not even. I was shocked to see at first because I wondered what the group dynamic was going to be among these older gentlemen. Because last year, the older ladies loved each other.
Yes.
It was like sisterhood in there.
Right.
And I was kind of dubious. Like, are these guys going to have that? They so did.
They so did, but like it was a little more contentious, like because they all hated the French guy, but it was in a fun way.
And he knew that it was fun for them to hate on him.
Yeah.
And was kind of being pirate vibes back.
Yeah.
And then famously Charles L. R. King would get in some comments under his breath. It was a fun dynamic.
They were having fun.
They were rowdy.
Yeah.
And they were being like, some of them were being like, you're a good looking guy. No, you're a good looking guy. And it's like,
But
that's
it
awesome for you
still
guys.
felt like a freaking conference or something.
Well, that's just because if there's a bunch of 60-year-old hedge fund managers
I know.
in blazers hanging out,
Yeah.
where else are they doing that except a conference? Like,
And also, again, I think the oldest one we saw was like 69.
yes.
Last season, there were plenty of women in their 70s.
Yeah. Because Gary was older.
Right.
And so far, I do feel like the ones Joan likes are the ones that are closer to her age.
And that makes sense.
Yeah. I think a thing happens where, like, you know how the rule, age gap discourse, am I right? You know how everyone's always talking about that? I think it matters when you're, like, teen to, like, 30. And then it doesn't matter for, like, 30 years, kind of.
Yeah.
And then once you're 60...
It matters.
You need
again.
someone who's also in like a 5-year range of you.
That makes sense.
Because if someone tries to set you up with someone older, you're going to be like, ooh, gross.
They're going to die.
Yeah. Pass. Hard pass on
Right.
that. And then if they're too young, you're like, oh, they're trying to fuck 35-year-olds.
Right.
Like you need age gap discourse is valid if you are 60 plus
60 plus.
looking for love. Yeah.
I think that's true. And I still think as a 75-year-old man, you're still going to want a 50-year-old woman.
Yeah. And like, ladies, Joan is out here to show us we don't need that. She is dating guys who would have been in high school at the same time as her.
Yeah.
And I support that.
Yeah, I respect it.
I think that's great.
Yeah. But also Joan she doesn't seem old to me either, I guess.
No.
At the end of the day. None of them seem
she seems
old.
fairly spry. Well, okay. I do have a comment here that I made yesterday while we were watching it. Some of them, there's several white-haired old white guys who are, they're like the army captain guy.
Yes.
A man named Kim.
Yeah.
Oh, if you're a white man named Kim.
You're a villain.
Well, I was going to say, you're just old as hell. Like, that's old as hell to be a white Navy captain named Kim.
True.
And no one was bullying him and being like, why are you an Asian woman? Like,
yeah.
that's crazy.
And then there was the guy who's your future husband. He's also looking pretty old.
Oh, nameless guy with white hair and big cartoon glasses who just looks like a cartoon.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, that's famously my type. Is guys who just look like a cartoon. I love that. I don't know if you've once theorized that it's because I like easier to process faces.
Right, because Sam has an AI way of seeing people.
I do. I famously have an incredible face memory.
Right.
Like I'll like whip my head around and see someone that I saw at Target like 2 weeks ago in a second location. And I guess, yeah, maybe it makes me relax if a face is just easy to look at.
It's like a 8-bit or something.
Yeah. I love that. I actually literally do this thing where if I think I'm like, is someone hot to decide on that personally, I put them in like a caricature machine in my mind.
Yeah.
And then if I think if I still would for the caricature, then I'm like, they're hot.
That's funny.
It's just work. It's what works for me.
And that guy, he's looking like the Pixar guy, the up guy.
But like taller. And well.
And also more like a magician, which you also like.
I love that.
So yeah, that's if you can find that guy, that's Sam's husband.
That's my old husband.
Yeah.
You famously had an old crush as well.
I do.
From Old Bachelor.
Yes, I love Dan.
Yes.
Who's like just this nice man. He just seems like
he got out of the car with a funny glasses joke.
Yes, he did. And I was like, ah.
You literally said, ah. Can I quote what you said yesterday?
Yes.
You said, I would fuck him right now. But that's not a crazy sentiment. My cousin and famed podcast listener, former guest Molly, also texted me today that she would marry Gary of
Yeah.
being like a plus-sized black college professor in
Yeah.
Palm Springs fame.
That's also an excellent crush.
No, they're giving you options.
Yeah.
They're giving you options to have an intergenerational crush
Yeah.
on Golden Bachelorette. And I think that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the ladies of Golden Bachelor were really bringing it like that.
I mean, we haven't talked to enough men about it, I guess.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I guess men famously liking them younger.
Totally.
Yeah.
They're fucking pervs.
Those perverts. those old perverts.
Yeah.
Like, that we're having crushes on TV. But yeah, you were like, that's my future husband.
Yeah.
Fully. Dan.
Dan.
He kind of looks like a Who.
Yeah.
He has sandy blonde hair.
He seems sweet.
He's sweet. Also a little awkward, got jokes. And then, yeah, he did the glasses awooga thing, which
yeah.
you
Funny.
love that.
I do. I think that's funny.
That's a new girl classic. That's a hit. She liked it too.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was there that was a standout?
Well, we talked a little bit about Jack, but he's the one who's gonna have commentary.
Yes, Jack the caterer is running his mouth.
And he at the beginning was watching everyone get out of the limo and like being mad and
Yes,
insulting
he's
about
being
it.
like, damn it,
Yeah.
damn it, not this guy.
No, they're all hot.
Yeah, he didn't like it. And then we got to see footage of him wandering around the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Just being like, what an excellent pool. And then he cooked a full meal.
And then in the preview of the rest of the season, we see him also in the pool, and then somebody else saying he's just here
For the cannonballs.
For the cannonballs.
I wish Young Bachelor was like this. Like, I wish Young Bachelor had more quirked out
Yeah.
personalities.
Yeah.
Like Golden style does. Because they're
Yeah.
so funny. They're so much funnier than people who are like trying to be normal for their marketing job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I liked Kelsey, the winner of the last season.
Me too, because she was like, I feel like one of a handful that had like a discernible personality. She didn't have Instagram face.
Right.
Like,
still
cute,
gorgeous,
fun, real,
but yeah.
kind of like gawky and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
silly. And like you could tell that they had a banter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, she wasn't like so weird.
No.
And they last season did give us Maria. We can't forget
God
that.
bless her. May she appear again.
Yeah. May she
May-
appear again.
I would love to see the effect she would have on these older gentlemen.
Yes.
That would be television.
Yeah. That I would love to see Maria show up in.
Give that the Emmy.
Yes. Yes. I would
Just
love
to
that.
run a challenge or something, like on like football day or something.
Yeah.
She can be like, hey boys.
I
it's
just
time
want
to
to.
play
Yeah. I want her to
football."
flirt with them. I think they
And
wouldn't
then
even
I'll
know
be
what to
bashful
do.
and weird.
Yeah.
Totally. But I kind of don't want that because I think Joan's a sweet, nice lady.
Yeah.
And I do think she doesn't deserve that. And her hot husband has passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And
But that's kind of why I'm like, why did they bring Gary back? I don't think she deserves that either.
well, I feel like at least I got distracted earlier because there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just
They got us.
what a journey.
They got
I
us
know.
on the hook.
We were such haters at the beginning, and we
Yeah.
also almost turned it off after the limo. And then by the end, we were like almost crying.
We were like, where is the next episode?
yes, we were desperate
We
to
were
watch the next
desperate.
episode.
We were foaming at the mouth.
Yeah. I was desperate enough to where I texted my parents and was like, you have to finish it. Your minds will change. And they did.
And they did.
They did.
I also want to bring up Chalk.
Stop. don't even bring up chalk. Some of you guys might be thinking, what is a chalk?
It's
It's
man.
an older gentleman. I don't know what to say about Chalk, except he got out of the limo and his gimmick was that he heard Joan made a mean chicken noodle soup,
Yeah.
which that's the word on the sexual streets when you're older. Is like, I heard you make a gnarly chicken noodle soup,
And then
babe.
everyone's creaming their pants.
Yeah, he was rock hard about it. And he was like, well, I made you a little special my own chalkin noodle soup. And you could tell she was like, huh? And then he's like,
Right.
my name's Chalk. And I don't know if we got a reaction face from her about a guy being named Chalk.
She had to eat it.
She had to slurp it from a jar.
And we're wearing dresses right now. There's no way in hell I would eat chicken noodle soup standing.
There's no dignity in that.
No.
In slurping noodles
No.
from Chalk's jar. That was not. And it also wasn't. That sounds like it could kind of be like MTV slutty and
Yeah.
like messy. It wasn't like that either.
It was an obligation.
It was an obligation. I just want to read from podcast correspondent, my cousin Molly. She said to me today, out of nowhere, we hadn't even discussed this, I just made the mistake of watching the episode while on the treadmill at the gym where I couldn't scream when introduced to a man named Chalk. And we did.
We did scream
On the
about
couch, we
Chalk.
went, Chalk! And then he proved himself to be kind of like incel-y and incapable of starting a convo with her.
Yeah, he was one of the ones.
Mad.
Multiple times there in the conversation, it seemed like Joan couldn't get a word in edgewise.
Yes. I think Chalk's... I'm going to predict my happenstance on Chalk. Villain.
Ooh.
Maybe not like the season villain, but a villain nonetheless.
I want to bring up another villain.
Yes.
The Doctor.
Oh, don't even speak of him. This guy is named Guy.
Yeah.
And he's an
and somehow
ER
I forgot that.
And as soon as he came on the screen, we looked at each other and we were like, that's a fuck boy. That's an old
fuck boy.
And it was just so clear.
Yeah.
He's devious. I think he's a villain too.
He's had a lot of work done.
And I don't know if it's helping, but it's making him look like a smooth shark or something.
Yeah. And I think she can tell.
I do think Joan can tell. And I think Joan doesn't say much. Like, I think she's doing good at kind of... I feel like every time it's a bachelorette, they have to take on kind of a teacher role.
Yeah.
To all the men in their class is kind of the energy. And, like, talk to them like, oh, and what about you? Okay. Like that. And I think you can just tell by her eyes.
Yeah.
When she doesn't like one of them versus when she does.
And sometimes obviously she has to take more of them probably than she wants.
Totally.
In the first round. And you can tell that she's like, they're great. But she doesn't mean it. But she has to say it because she is going to take them.
And then when she does like one, I feel like you can tell.
Yes.
And it's funny too because I think it's all in her eyes if they like her or if she likes them or not. And then all the men the whole ep, whether she liked them or not, be like, Joan, your eyes, girl, are beautiful.
Yes.
But like not seeing whenever they clearly looked like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times it literally is because the man seems to talk too much.
I am worried because I think Joan does seem like a quieter, like normal woman that these dudes are going to like talk over her way too much throughout the season.
And I think Gary from last season was a good listener.
Yes. Because he famously was moved to tears by like most things that were said.
Yes.
He was listening and feeling about what was being said to him. I think these guys, they all like started out with like a luxury kind of hedge fund guy vibe of being like, I've had a lot of success in my life and I love it. Yeah. And I'm looking for someone who can be a part of that, who's active and cool. And like they just gave a whole speech and you could see her pursing her mouth to try to like be like, me too, or I think, and like some dudes it just seemed like she couldn't get a word in edgewise.
And some of them their speeches were like, you're so great, your eyes are beautiful, blah blah blah, but still like talking too much.
Because then you're the object. You're like, what about?
Do you want to hear from me? Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to see what this mouth do? Yeah. Yeah. They didn't. I did think it was funny. Chalk, famous enemy of the podcast. No, sorry, Chalk, if you're listening. Sorry if Chalk's daughters are listening.
Chalk, come on the pod.
Chalk. Wait, what's your happenstance for why is Chalk's name that?
I don't know if I
what is it Charles? And they just didn't want to name him Chuck?
So you think it's a nickname, like it's not on his birth certificate?
I think it's like a preppy nickname, like how sometimes people in New England are named like Kick or Chip. But those are normal compared to Chalk. Chock full of is like the only phrase I can think of.
I could see it being like a family name to where like his great grandfather in the Civil War is
also named Chalk. I think it has to be short for something. And obviously the only thing I can think of is chocolate. This is a white man. That can't be related. That can't be anything.
Chalk does sound like maybe he was named after his mom's dead dog.
Chalk. Why'd they name a dog that? That just doesn't. I don't know, man.
I think Charles makes sense.
Yeah, but everyone normally does Chuck, which is also random. Yeah. But we're used to it. Right. That is also weird though now that I'm thinking. Why did they put a U in the nickname for Charles?
Charles.
Chuck.
Chuck.
Chalk.
Chalk.
It also almost sounds like chalk, which is a funny name for a white guy.
Maybe it was a spelling mistake. That's famously how Oprah got her name.
Oh yeah, because she was supposed to be what? Orpah.
I mean,
from the dodged Bible. A bullet.
Totally. Oprah's way better and more iconic, but still.
Also, God, why did you name a lady that in the Bible? That sucks. Orpah? Hell no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great name for a whale.
If I was Orpah, I'd rather my name be Chalk. Hell no. What are we even talking about? I feel like Chalk just derails the whole thing.
I know, he does. And he sucks. And he's got like those wet old man eyes that I hate.
Yeah, not in a cute. I do think your husband has wet old man eyes, but in like a cute way.
In a cute way.
Yeah, so that's a fine line. Oh, I remember I was going to say comparison stuff. Chalk over-talked at Joan, and it seemed like she couldn't get a word in edgewise. And I was like, against it.
Yeah.
But so did a guy who I initially thought was like big front runner,
Jonathan.
The handsomest one.
Yes.
Light skin, tall, bald, black guy, wearing like athleisure.
He was
in his like video.
He was the first hot one to step out of the limo.
So hot.
Yeah.
Like you could only tell he was old because he moved like a dinosaur. Otherwise you'd be like, who's this hot 35-year-old man?
Smooth skinned man.
Beautiful elegant
man. She thought he was hot too.
You could tell because they started with the Frenchman. Good choice.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna shape the season. But then they showed us like 4 guys who's like, what?
Yeah, like the Kim, the
old white Kim. We were nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, my dad's predictions are right. They're all like too old and not bringing the swag. And then Jonathan gets out of the car, and you could tell Joan and the audience, we were all like, thank God. Yeah, in her eyes. But I thought, at least it seemed like, over-talked her too.
Yeah, and he like read a whole ass poem.
Oh my God.
That was so bad.
Was it a poem he wrote about her, or
Yeah.
was he the one? Because some weird guy read a card from his son that was just about how good of a dad he was.
I think that was the French guy who also talked too much at her.
Boy dad.
And the French guy needs to stay on the show because he's the best fucking part.
He has to stay on the show.
But you can tell she doesn't like him.
No, but he needs to be there for like at least 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Or else. He needs to be there.
Yeah.
But after super hot Jonathan over-talked at her, she was like, we have a connection. And at first I was like, girl, what? And I thought about it a little more and I was like, I would do that too.
Yeah. Also, if you're 60, maybe you do want a guy to read you a poem.
That's true. He can read to you in bed. You can't see that good. You don't even have to put on your glasses.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe you do want someone boring.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I think it would be relaxing. And I just think it's the power of like
him being hot.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And looking significantly younger than a lot of the other guys.
She did mostly seem to gravitate towards the dudes who were closer to her age, I feel like.
We also have to touch on Kelsey from last season's dad.
My God. Mark. 57.
And hot. Smash.
Smash. All of America knew that. All of America last year was like, smash this crying old man.
Yeah.
And I don't think America was like, smash crying old man for Gary.
No.
They tried to trick us, but he was an old fuckboy.
Right.
The whole time. But
Mark not a fuckboy.
No, Mark is a sweet old man.
Right. But you can be so horny about him even though he's a sweet old man.
Not even old. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the issue. Show me Mark in 20 years. That's the content I want to see. Mm-hmm. But that being said, Kelsey, his gorgeous, beautiful daughter, which older women love, got out of a separate... Mark got his own damn limo.
Yeah.
He didn't have to ride with the riffraff like Chalk and Jack.
Right.
He got to pull up solo at the end. It was presented by his gorgeous daughter, Footwoman.
Yeah.
And then Joan was obviously like,
I know.
Oh my God.
Because he's attractive and presented. And he was presented as the best option.
Incredibly.
And he is the best option.
He is the best option. But my happenstance on that, they already showed us Joan telling her, or they already showed in the teaser Joan telling him that she was falling in love with him. Yeah. Specifically. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's not the one. I think they're teeing him up to be the next Golden Bachelor. 100%.
See, and I don't think you're wrong, but that's disappointing to me because I think if he's the next Golden Bachelor, he's going to be in his 50s.
Well, okay. Yeah, I guess he still will. He'll be like 58.
Yeah. And I personally have a problem with that.
I just wonder, maybe we need to have a Bachelor for every decade of person.
Yeah.
We're in a content glut anyway.
Yeah.
And I do sometimes in Bachelor off seasons crave more of that sweet content.
And I think we would low-key go wild for an in their 80s, like hospice level Bachelor. Like, I think we want to see that.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
And emotional and funny.
And I want them to literally be so old that all they do is play bingo. Like, I don't want to be proven wrong about old people. I want to be proven so right.
Right. Well, because they're trying to prove us wrong about old people who aren't old.
Yes.
That's the thing. But that being said, Joe Gibson, famously just on the podcast, has for many years said 60 is the new 40.
Yeah.
And I think he's just right.
And 80 is the new 60. So
I don't know. I guess so. I guess old people in like the 20th century were old when they were 60.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think that's true anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Golden Bachelor is a testament to like longevity.
And I think they make an effort to like have all these people at least have like lost a spouse or like have grown families, just at least like lived life a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think if you're like 58 you're old or golden or anything like that.
You just have more life experience.
Right.
And like more of a personality that you'll show on TV.
Yeah.
It's just like funner Bachelor, honestly.
And I want to see what like 80-year-olds would do in this situation.
They're still getting down.
Yeah.
They're still getting down. I'm speaking with firsthand knowledge because I have an older female relative who I will not name specifically on the podcast, just in case. She's not going to listen to a podcast because she's at the nursing home getting it. She's busy.
She's busy.
There's like one guy at her nursing home who famously has all his like teeth and some hair, and he's the hot commode.
And I want to know about that culture and lifestyle.
They have like dances sometimes, and all the old ladies fight to get a dance with him.
That's The Bachelor.
There's drama.
That's better than The Bachelor.
No, they're always trying to pull. I'm just gonna say his name because he's hot. Let's celebrate that. They're trying to pull Kenny for a chat.
Okay.
And Kenny, I've met him, would not smash.
You wouldn't personally smash?
No, I wouldn't. He's not bringing like how there you can have an old crush.
Yeah.
On Golden Bachelorette. Kenny's made it to a point where like no.
But that's what I want.
Yeah.
I want to see a bunch of gross old teeth falling out.
Right. Deteriorating.
It's
questionable if they can consent to sexual activities.
Right. It's questionable if they will make it to the end of the season.
But they're still going for it.
And I want to see that.
You want full exploitative old badge. Not
Yeah.
golden, old. Just old. Straight up.
Yeah.
Because last year we called Golden Badge old badge. But
Yeah.
it's just not true.
It's not true. And especially this season because everyone's like a decade younger than they were last season.
Yeah.
And if we get Kelsey's dad next season, the women might even be like early 50s or even late 40s. Like that would be crazy.
They cannot do late 40s. That's inappropriate. That would piss me off. Famously, when Bachelor started, everyone was like 35.
Right.
And that was good. There was like, it's always better
yeah.
TV if the people are 35 plus, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they could do one that's like 20 to 30
Yeah.
Bachelor, like sort of post-grad Bachelor.
The fake one.
Yes. And then like 30 to 50.
Yeah.
And then 50 to
100.
No, because no. Joan was hating guys who were like 5 years older than her. It's because of the high school
50
rule.
to 70, then 70,
And then
70 to 100.
Well, or till as long as you're want it.
Yeah.
As long as you're horny, you can be on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful.
That would be beautiful. Bachelor for all ages. One issue that we are running into that we talked about in the age gap of it all is that Jesse, our host, is 45.
Mm-hmm.
And like seeing him talking to old Joan,
yeah,
we were like, he might as well be a contestant.
He could, yeah, they could fuck.
He's starting to get a little salt and peppery.
Yeah.
Why not? I wonder what that's like for her.
I just think the whole thing is weird. Because like, we didn't have to have the next Bachelorette be a 60-year-old because there were older women on the show.
But I think they probably saw like, I think the night driving of it all. Mm-hmm. And like the parts that were like, is this okay? And didn't some like lady sprain her ankle last season?
She faked it.
You go queen.
I wanted her too.
I do. Lady who fake sprained her ankle actually would be a good Golden Bachelorette. Yeah, that's why they should do Golden Bachelorette in Paradise. Because that's what I want to see.
And I want to see that, but they're all 100.
Well, I think Golden Bachelor in Paradise would be interesting because you could do the age spread. Because I think it would be fun to watch people who are like 60 be like, I'm not going to date you. You're 83.
Right. But maybe they would fuck them. We don't know that.
Based on just interviewing my dad, I think they would not. I think my dad, being around 60 is now more ageist to people who are like 80.
That makes sense because you don't want to feel part of that.
No.
But I think if there was one particularly eligible hedge fund manager type sitting on a tidy fortune who's like 85,
a gilf,
a gilf,
a great grandfather, you'd still like to.
Maybe you would, as like a 65-year-old with no retirement plan. Maybe you'd be like, you know what?
Oh, that's classic, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just doing like an Anna Nicole Smith.
Right.
Or like if you were to marry Dan, your old crush from the current Golden Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Why not do that later in
And
life?
I think people in LA are doing that all the time.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing
That's
wrong with that.
beautiful, and maybe even the circle of life.
Right.
There's nothing wrong
And
with
it'd be
that.
funny if that was happening, but there was also drama and it was reality TV.
Just a pitch. Oh, I do want to talk about, we like talked about, is there going to be a guy who does a Willy Wonka? And there was.
Yeah. We talked about that actually.
I think we did. 'Cause
That's
I
hilarious.
think maybe even way back as far as the last Bachelor episode. But I think we've discussed this. And then this guy comes out acting old and crunchy as hell. He's another one I did like the other Charles.
Yes.
Who's like a cool, swaggy red velvet blazer black guy
but then
with like a goatee.
But then whose son in the video like clearly didn't give a shit.
Yes, everyone who's a girl dad, the girl made like a beautiful video in front of like either a nicely clean room or like some trees, and this son was still wearing like a do-rag and then clearly just woken up and was in front of a white wall at a weird angle holding it,
And was like, Dad, great job.
which made me think that his dad doesn't need this as much as some of these girl dads do. And I believe this guy's getting it on the streets.
Totally.
He has it.
Yeah.
He has that. But that being said, his Willy Wonka was worse and weirder than what real Willy Wonka does.
Yeah.
Where he comes out of the candy factory and looks old and then does an awesome somersault. This guy laid slowly on the ground on his face like a snake. And then did kind of one arm push-ups, but not
also
really because he put
needed
his
the
hand
other
down.
hand, but was pretending it was. It seemed like he was faking a one arm push up.
Yeah, and then that made it seem like the one arm push-up was actually old style. He should
Yeah.
have just done regular push-ups and gotten some good height. It's an interesting choice.
And it didn't work on Joan, but it did work on Jack, the caterer, because he was standing on the sidelines and he was like, "There's guys here doing push-ups." Ugh.
He was threatened. And maybe that was Charles's game all along.
Get in the mind of your opponent.
Yes, I do think I like the older people because you can tell more of them are openly like scheming.
Yeah.
Like I do think they're playing games with each other like that.
And it's funny.
It's fun. He established dominance with his weird one-armed push-up. That being said, I did reach out to our correspondent, my dad,
Yeah.
for a review for basically his happenstance on the rest of the season.
Yes.
And this is what he had to say. Charles, Gary, Guy, Jack, Jonathan, and Keith will be around a while.
Keith is the girl dad.
Yes. So Charles, we don't know which Charles.
We don't know which Charles.
I think they'll both be around a while.
Yeah.
Gary, the
Yes.
chubby Palm Springs man,
Yes.
with an adorable daughter and grandchild.
Absolute icon.
You said you wanted to be that kid's grandma at
Yes.
the ripe age of 28.
Yes.
So that was a slay for Gary.
Yes.
Guy, and then Keith, who she gave the first impression rose to,
Yeah.
will be around a while. I
And
agree with him.
I kind of think Keith's whole appeal is being 6'5", TBH.
And normal and having a voice like a bear.
Yeah, versus my take on the everyone else's voice, weak.
Yeah.
Everyone, yeah, they had like old man voice even though they're only 60.
You were killing me with quotes yesterday. I actually wrote this in my phone notes. When you saw Keith, you said, he is full of vitality. I think you're right. He's full of vitality. And she was into that. Dad also said, Pascal will stick around too, but only because he is French. She really doesn't like him.
It's true.
That's 100%. I
Yeah.
agree with that. He also says, can't get past focusing on whatever plastic surgery she had done.
Your dad is catty AF.
Look, that's valid. I see that for him. I get it.
I would love to see your dad on the show. Okay, my other review after watching it is I think both of our dads would actually do amazing on the show.
I think so too. I think they could kill it.
And it
on
doesn't
Golden
have
Badge.
anything to do with interacting with Joan. I think they would both have great commentary. They would be amusing as fuck.
Are they going to be funny walking around the house? Apparently that's what this is about.
Yeah.
So cool. And they are going to have to do tasks we saw in the preview, such as costume striptease and kickball.
Yes.
And that would be a hoot to see. It'd be a hoot to see. So I feel that. Any other predictions? Do you have a prediction who you think's gonna win?
I agree with you that Kelsey's dad is gonna get really far but not win.
Yeah.
It does seem like, because sometimes you can tell like how happy the season's gonna be. It seems like she goes through it. There's like a roller coaster, but by the end, it seems like she picks one.
It seems like she picks. I hope she does.
I
do
hope she does
actually
too.
think I was very hesitant at first, but I do think so far seems like there's some good guys.
Yes.
That being said, we also have to address. Okay, we didn't comment on last season Bachelorette with Jen because there wasn't hype around it. Poor Jen was obviously Bachelorette because they couldn't get Maria. Because Maria's probably like secretly running, I don't know, like a small oil country or something now. Something worthy of her powers.
Yeah, she doesn't need it for the money. She doesn't need the exposure. She would probably do it for a ridiculous amount of money that they wouldn't give her.
And she's probably doing something she's better suited for, like influencing elections
in
other countries.
Yeah. And dating like oil barons that you couldn't get on The Bachelor.
Yeah. And go off. Jen, I did like her. Thought she had a good personality. She was fun. She got pretty far for an Asian American on The Bachelor, which is great.
Yeah.
And then she got the title of first Asian Bachelorette, which whenever you get the first insert race here, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's a burden that you don't want on you, actually, I think.
Yeah. And it does sound like, because I know how like the season ends, and it sounds like they did her dirty and worse than just, because I think a lot of them it ends poorly at the end.
Yeah.
Like you can't control that, but you can control like how you present it.
Yes.
And if you're like respectful to the lead.
Wait, let's talk about it, because I don't know if I fully know what happens, but I watched like the first 3 episodes of the season and it was hard to watch. She is like fun.
Yeah.
Is her vibe. She's funny and asked for guys who are also that.
Bad idea
On The Bachelor.
You specifically have to ask for sweeties.
Yeah, she got a bunch of mouthy, annoying, weird dudes. And then they all are doing the classic Bachelor thing whenever the lead can't be like teachery enough to them, where they're all hanging out with each other and kind of ignoring Jen. And the only one who was spending time with Jen was Pete Davidson comp Devin or something.
Yeah.
But basically the one who fucking has a restraining order from his ex-girlfriend for breaking into her house.
Holy shit.
They're like this psycho. And like there have been people on these kind of shows with like allegations, but this dude's allegations that I think were like legitimized through the court of law were bad. And in the 3 episodes I watched, you were like, he's the only option.
Wow.
So what happened at the end?
So is he the one that, do you know who makes it at the end?
So the final 2 on Jen's were Devin, who's the guy I just talked about, and then Marcus, who is this guy who's like cute. But I didn't like him for her either because he was like retired Army vet and had big conservative vibes.
Wait, can I just check who the one, because it goes poorly for like her with both of them, but then it happens. Hang on. Yeah. So what happened is, Marcus, I think it was like in the final 2, basically like bailed and was like, I don't want to propose to you.
Well, he did almost die from a, what is it? Those things where he almost died from a grenade.
Wow.
Like 2 years ago or something. So
okay, well, fair enough.
I get that for him.
So then basically her option was Devin, and then she was like, I'm gonna propose to Devin and like switch it up.
No, she tried to do a feminist move to a known abuser.
So then the broadcast cuts. We cut back to the women tell all style, like whatever they call it when the live interview.
Yeah.
And then Jesse's like, so before airing the rest of this, we're going to talk to Jen. Brings out a sobbing Jen.
No.
And basically she says, yes, so we ended our engagement, and just talks it over. She's clearly like so traumatized. And then Jesse's like, okay, now we're going to play it. And then
Classic
goes
Jesse.
ahead and plays the engagement, where they framed it like they weren't going to show it because it would be too upsetting to Jen because the engagement ended.
Because he is a psycho.
Right. But then
abuser.
instead, they basically sat her down and made her watch it with the audience after everybody already knew that it didn't work out.
Oh, that's the thing, is when The Bachelor ends dark, it feels so dark. Like at the end of Zach's season, where he had sex with the one girl under the pretext or whatever that he was going to pick her, and then he didn't, and then they brought her out, and she'd lost 15 pounds and looked like she'd been like in the clink.
Yes.
And made her watch all that shit. Terrible.
Right. But at least that one, they managed to wrap it up in a like nice little bow at the end and be like, Zach and
they still ended up
Katie
together,
or whatever her name is.
No.
But yeah, in this one, it's like they're like, be prepared for tragedy. We're not going to show it. And then she explains everything, cries, and then they're like, okay, now let's watch it. And she like cries through it, and they make you watch her crying while she's watching her own failed engagement happen.
To a guy that they cast, even though he's done crimes to women.
Yeah. So
Evil.
that ended poorly.
Yeah. That feels bad.
So I'm kind of like bracing myself for whatever is going to happen
to Jen. Well, okay, Jen update, because I was Googling around this topic this week. I did learn that she is now dating a guy that she initially liked from the season, who was fine, who the highlight about him is he showed up to the first episode in a full body cast, including obscuring his face, in a hospital gown with his ass out.
As a joke?
Yes, but he didn't take it off the whole night. So now they're together, and I think that's kind of fun.
That's fun.
Hopefully he's a nice guy.
But she cut him at some point?
I guess so. I don't get that far because, again, it's painful to watch, but they've reconnected. So wishing Jen the best. That being said, we do also know there's a guy with a restraining order on him in this season with Joan.
Right. Named Gil.
Gil. Yes. Handsome guy.
He got through the first round.
He got through the first round. Apparently since then they're cutting how much he's in the episodes.
But I saw him in the previews.
Yeah, I think he's making it because it didn't happen. Supposedly, I think. Okay, I read in People magazine, which is a notorious mouthpiece for ABC, Disney, The Bachelor, etc., and like whatever celebrities want them to say.
Right.
That they didn't catch this guy. I don't know why they said they didn't catch Devin from last season being a known abuser and let him on the show. But they said they didn't catch this guy because he had a clean record until after he was cast. And then a woman filed a temporary restraining order and like tried to make a lawsuit, but it hasn't been dealt with or tried yet.
Okay.
But after that happened, they're editing him out of how long he makes in the rest of the season.
Okay.
So I don't know what I think about that.
I kind of think from the previews it looked like he made it a fair amount.
Yeah.
So this could be messy.
This could be really messy. Troubling.
We'll
see. But I think we can at least say he's not going to get to final.
No.
Because they're not presenting it in a way that's like it's that big a deal.
Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah. He probably just makes it until it gets serious.
Like a midpoint.
Yeah. He probably doesn't get a one-on-one either.
Let's hope not.
I'm trying to think of if I have any like major predictions. I think there's going to be a moment in the middle where all those silly ones are going to get cut all at once and it's going to be a tragedy. Like I'm talking
it will
like,
be a tragedy.
Like Jack and the French guy and
all of our
Charles
kings.
L and just everyone.
Yeah. No, that always happens in Bachelor seasons, but this one's going to hurt extra bad. I agree.
Yeah.
Because I do think the one she's going to really like, it's going to be more boring, but that's when it's going to be about love. And it doesn't work for me on Young Bachelor. Like when they do the switch from like fun and nasty to like love. Because I'm like, it's not real. Right. But it works for me on Golden because I'm like, oh my God, the pressure's up.
I think it did kind of work for me with Joey's season.
Yeah.
At least I felt like, well, I do believe he and Kelsey are happy together.
I think they are too.
And they've been spotted around town.
Yes, they have. I think they're fine. But I'm saying like their love story didn't feel like it had enough stakes for me to be really like in it.
True.
I was like there for Maria. You know what I mean?
But honestly, on the Golden Bachelor, I didn't feel like any of the love stories were really...
No, but the way they wanted it so bad.
Yeah.
Just destroyed me. And I literally would feel sick before we watched it.
Yeah.
But I do think this will be better because I feel like they are not that old.
Yeah.
And I think the question here is, can you find love again? Can you have two loves? That's a different question, but still an intense question. And you're sad because like Joan's sweet and her husband died of cancer. And you know these other guys are going to reveal stuff like that too, that you're like, ah, man.
To me, from Joan's vibes in the preview, it seems more about her working through her grief. And
learning to love again.
Yeah.
That's emotional.
It is going to be emotional.
I'm going to be sad.
Yeah.
Also, once again, shallow moment. Like, whenever she talks about how she misses her husband and still feels a connection to him, I'm going to feel sadder because I know he was hot.
Yeah.
Hate to say it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they did a good job showing us that he was hot in all stages of his life.
They did do that.
They showed us him from like when they were 18 or whatever, all the way through
all
when he
the
dies.
way through the end.
Literally when he was like shed to half his body weight and was dying.
He
still
looks
hot.
pretty good. He looks pretty good. Joan, you did it once. I hope you do it again.
I hope you do it again. Find a hottie.
That's what Joan. That's a hottie who doesn't have any legal problems.
Yeah.
Because of violence against women. Joan.
Yeah. And I'm excited for her to start making out with them.
I am too. Also, I just want to say, it's not going to happen, but I already Charles L for Golden Bachelor #2.
That would be beautiful.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah. We could get a more diverse cast.
Totally.
Okay.
What if we had old Bachelor and young Bachelor, but every time we get 3 leads of different races? On the show F-Boy Island, Shirley lived on HBO. I loved it during the pandemic. They did that.
But then would it be like, there would be like a racially diverse
Cast. That's what they did on F-Boy
in general?
Island.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And I think you could get away with that. I think you could.
Well, it's just interesting that all the quote unquote trashier reality shows are like way more diverse than The Bachelor. Because like if you look at like Love Island.
Yes. Whenever I was watching the finale of Love Island, you came in and were like, none of these people are white. And I was like, pretty much no. Yeah. But
And everyone loved it.
yeah, it's good shit. Like, I just think it'd be good. I would love to see like 4 Golden Bachelorettes across the rainbow of people.
And it doesn't even have to just be race diversity.
No.
Because like Sandra was bringing a certain joie de vivre to the table.
Yeah, just different vibes.
different vibes.
It's just different vibes.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to see too. Because like, if that guy who you said has vitality, Keith, is one of them, and then Charles L's the other, what an incredible pair.
Or even
to find
the
love
Pascal,
together.
the French guy.
Throw him with anybody.
Yeah.
And I would love to see it.
Yeah. Dream trio Golden Bachelor is caterer, Charles L, and Pascal.
Stop. Too good. I think there has to be a 4th though, where it has to be like Hot Jonathan or something.
Oh, okay.
Like someone who's like a traditional.
Totally.
Yeah. That'd be fun to watch.
That would be incredible to watch.
Charles L's daughter, if you're listening, please come on the podcast.
Please come Charles L, come on the pod.
Yeah.
We
Charles
can get
L.
him.
You think we could get him?
Yeah, we got your
Everyone?
dad.
We got your. That's
That
the
was
first
huge.
step. That's the first step. You're right. You're right. Thanks, Dad. Bye.
Bye.